So just for a bit more information about them, this is an RX8 Cup car. So over east there's an RX8 Cup category where they're all RX8 Cup cars. I'm trying to get this category going over here in WA. We've got some wicked help from Des, Damo, Ryan Fisher, Laurie Withone. They're a couple of the first guys to jump on. Sam Silvestro at Esport, sorry I should say, he's been really awesome, as well as Ric Shaw. He's been massive help. The cars are very, very controlled, so they're written to production car rules, but they've got even more constraints on that, and they're actually better controlled than XLs. Like the wheels, that's a control item, so every car runs the same speedy wheel, which is dirt cheap. They're on the same Serco brake pad. Batteries got to stay in the same spot. I've got a lithium one coming for this. Rotaries eat batteries. Same intake system, that's a control item. Exhaust from the header back is a control item, so there's no one with the freaky hot sauce special intake like you see in XLs and exhaust and stuff. Car wise, it's a Australian delivered Series 1 RX8, so that's pretty much 2004 to 2008 model car. Inside, pretty basic, got to keep all the interior. This one's got an AGI roll cage. They've all got to have a national spec roll cage. They've got a control dash that they can run, so they're on a little Microtech dash, no logging, just telemetry, so just live where you're racing, lap time, water temp, coolant, oil, coolant temp, all that sort of stuff, as well as your lap timing, so pretty handy. This one's built pretty well. It's got all the blow and everything in the dash on the switch. I think it's got the second fuel pump done to it by the looks. Basic cage. It's got an air vent on the window, which are allowed in the rules. And other than that, basically, really good category. Strip an RX8, put a roll cage in it, go racing. It's got MCAs on it, which is the control coilover. They're a modified MCA blue looking at them. So they're valved for the RX8s. So Rick went through that, figuring all that out. And like I said, this is not a bad looking car. The wheels look cool on it. The livery's kind of cool. This car's always had this orange and silver going on, so we're just going to get the Lux logos and the DC logos on it and see what it looks like. So pretty happy. We'll have this out at the November race meeting, so November 5th, last race meeting of the year for WA. We'll have this car on the track, and then March 5th next year we'll have a few more RX8s going. Really keen on that. I go over to Sydney end of October, so going over there 28, 29 October to race over there and see what's going on. So I brought two cars through preps through Lockie Cook. So I brought his red car, and then this was a customer car of his. So did me a deal on both cars. Send this one over here, get it going, get people to use it, get the sport figured out, and then I'll leave my one in Sydney, go race that, learn how the cars work, learn how the category works with everyone. And then I've got another car over here, a red one, that I'm getting built at the moment. I'm just waiting for a cage to be done on that. And then we'll put everything in it. I've already got all the control items, so Rick for the new car. So pretty happy there. Laurie Withome's brought a black car. Ryan Fisher has brought the most beautiful yellow one owner Series 1 RX8. It's gorgeous. He should just put it in a bubble and forget he owns it, because it's too nice to make into a race car, but he's got some cool toys. So no, all going to plan. We should have 3 if not 4 cars on the grid for next year to run alongside production cars, and then once we've got our own enough numbers, so once we've got at least 5 cars, we can run our own championship here in WA under, on a combined grid. But then once we get at least 12 cars, we can ask for our own grid and just be all RX8s running around. They just run a factory Renesis engine, pretty controlled. You can get rid of the aircon, change your pulleys. You're allowed to do that once you've got rid of the aircon. Put some lightweight ones on it. You're allowed to change the coils as long as they bolt in like OEM. You can't do any, modify LS coils or anything like that. Manifolds have got to be all standard. Intake, that piece has got to be all standard. It's part of the controls. Engine wise, not allowed to port them. Not allowed to do anything. You're allowed to nitrate the plates. That's just for longevity. And you can take a tiny bit of weight out as you balance them, which is next to nothing, like 2%. They run the factory oil cooler, and then you run a kit to run a second oil cooler on it, like the later model ones did. So this has got that, as well as, probably can't see there, big aluminium radiator with twin thermo fans, the factory fan arrangement. Gearbox wise, factory RX8 6-speed. They're made out of glass apparently, so you've got to be very careful with them. Run a good oil and just change nice, use your brakes. They run a factory flywheel and pretty much direct class services. Drew, our homie over there, he's got the Hot Boy clutch for this, which is basically a heavy pressure plate with a really, really light disc. Diff wise, factory LSD, factory ratio, but you're allowed to put 2 extra shims in them. Other than that, can't do much to them, man. So yeah, looking forward to giving it a go. I really like production cars and if you want to build a monster, go sports sedans. You want to put big turbos on things, sports sedans. This is where I run the Skyline, run the Vipers, sports cars. Production cars, you want to leave all your interior in it, leave it looking like a car, have some good competition. You can see how popular the category is over east. And yeah, after running that Renault around in production cars here with Jim and the little Focus, it's just a cool category. And then to have something like this, it's rear wheel drive, a little bit more modern, a bit cooler than an XL, I think they'll be pretty popular. Lap time wise, I expect it to be pretty similar to a GT86, like slightly quicker than one over at Sydney Motorsport Park. So I need with a hot driver on a really good setup and some green tyres, probably get a, 67 maybe at Barb's. I don't know, we'll find out. As long as it goes around with no dramas and the car stays good, I'll be happy. Cheers. So I had the RX8 out of the tuning night just to get more seat time in before we went over to Sydney. It's a, it's a new car to me, new car to driving, different kind of car to drive. Sucked the weather was sort of patchy, so the track had that typical damp but not wet sort of Wanneroo thing where one lap you got tons, you can be tight, and then the next lap it's sort of got nothing. It's a bit weird old Wanneroo when it gets wet like that. It's especially because we've had a couple of good hot days, so probably a bit of dust and crap on the track as well. But no, the car's cool, so I'm still running around 109s. Brakes need a good work over in it. A few bushes need to be replaced, and just tyres. I think the old Nankang AR1s, which are the controlled tyre for the category, they are about 4 years old. The ones that are on this car, God knows how much work they've done. Heaps of grip on them. They're just a bit cheesy, not too much there. But yeah, it's a cool, comfortable car to drive. Like, it's pretty compliant. I think we can get a lot more out of it. Like, I still think a really juiced up setup, you'll get a 67-second lap out of it. Green tyres and a fairly aggressive alignment and that, so you can carry a bit more corner on it. But seating position I like. I was a little bit further forward than I'd probably want to be in this car, but we're just trying to get the car set up for Tom when he comes over for the race meeting on the 5th. Super revvy and fun to drive, so it's loud, it's got that rotary noise of revs, you can keep it up in the revs, and I think that's that'll be pretty cool to learn when we go over to Sydney this weekend. See how the other guys drive them, so they assume like any small engine car, and like when I used to have DFC, that keeping the revs right up is where it makes its power and where it wants to be. The only compromise is keeping the gearbox happy, so you don't really want to be trashing up those speeds. They compression lock pretty bad, so that's something I've got to get my head around. When you heel and toe, you've really got to give it beans. So in this first session out of this night, I really wasn't quite giving it enough. We got that sort of towards the end of the night, but yeah. Line-wise, I'd like to be deeper into the bowl on it. So turn 1, pretty happy, you can get in tight. After a couple of laps, tyres really start to go off, and I don't know if that's because these are a bit cheesy starting, but you can stay tight around 1, which is cool. Through the S's, it doesn't like the curves too much, it's a bit soft for that, but you can get it over and in tight early as long as you're not too greedy on your entry into 4, so you can go real tight around here. And then I think the key is going to be where you change in the 4th gear over the hill here, how much you let it rev out, which that all changes with the entry speed. The bowl's funny, under brakes I just can't go as deep as I'd like to go. I normally want to be a bit further out before we turn in, but it's still nice, and I think you can see in one of the following laps I get it quite fast and quite quick through there. Pretty happy with that. Big tug on the belt, so I'm getting old. But yeah, down the hill's really nice. Just cool to be able to sing on a car that's relatively easy, malleable. You can get it a little bit squirrely, but it doesn't quite have the grunt to really throw the tyres off it, which is kind of handy. It makes it a lot easier to drive, which I think will be the key. It's just like a well, it's nothing like an XL really, I should say, but it's just that next step up. It's faster everywhere on the track. It's rear-wheel drive. You can pedal it a bit harder. You got a little bit more data to use, and just fun. The gearboxes, the advice we've been given is not to really race it into fourth, so it'll be easy on fourth. The second gear synchros in this box is really hammered, so I think on a race, when you have to do a race start, that'll really hamper you. But fourth to third is really nice, and then coming over the hill, it's got the revs to stay in fourth. I think as these get quicker and you get out of the bowl quicker and setup gets better, you might need fifth just before the end of the hill here, but taking the extra gear change out of the equation just because you've got the revs is it's pretty cool. Terminal speed, I think on a really hot lap, I think I got just on 190, 193, something like that. So not overly quick over the hill, you know, it's not like a sports sedan where you're carrying 240, 250 k's an hour over the hill, but a damn sight quicker than anything else. Catch up to Peter Morley here in the saloon. He's just going out doing some testing. He just pulls over and lets me by, which is pretty cool. But I think on a good day, a saloon and an RX8 Cup car is going to be pretty similar times. The RX8 Cups cars are a bit heavier, over 1360 I think is race weight. Don't quote me on it, I'll check the regs again. But, so heavy-ish, but the geometry is really nice on them. So they've got a really good rear end. They're a little bit confusing under the car because you've got the big power brace that goes from the gearbox to the diff. The diff's on a weird mount. But if you've ever worked on an MX-5 or an FD, you're pretty at home with that sort of stuff. But yeah, all around, my verdict is super fun car to drive. If you're expecting to do 60-second laps, then go spend 100 grand and drive the sports sedan, or 150 grand or whatever, or be at the front of street cars IP. But if you just want a good modernish car that's easy enough to drive without breaking the bank, this is super cool. And I just like the noise they make. There's a few photos I'll pop in, and a few bits of footage I've been given by others where you can, they blow flames. Every time you get your heel toe right, they blow flames out the back. It does all the cool rotary things that you want it to do. I think this is a bit of a good lap. I got around one really well there. Driving a bit more through the S's than I'd wanted. Should try to straighten that out as much as you can. In early here, which is really cool, so you can hug the whole way around. Not many cars I've got, you can really get that tight the whole way around there, which sets you up to be really nice over here, which is pretty good. Gives you good speed down here. I think once we sort this braking out, we have to go a bit deeper here. I'm not sure, the Skyline was having weird problems all night, so just buzz past that thing and get out of the way of that. Off over the hill into fourth, all the way down. That's what I mean, there's a couple of times I try going to fifth, it just doesn't give me any more legs. I'm using another brake change to deal with. Back to third out wide and easy. It's super nice. Really keen to see more of this thing out there. So I said there's so far we've got this one, which I've got in WA. I've got another one in Sydney. Another one we're going to put a cage in. Laurie with Holmes brought one. He used to race the MX-5 and street cars. I got Ryan Fisher. He's brought a really good yellow one, which we talked about. Got some Targa guys, the Armstrongs. I think they do Targa. They've brought one. I'm not sure if they've signed up and got the control gear yet. So Laurie and Ryan, they've brought all the control components from Ric Shaw. I've brought a set of control components from Ric Shaw to build a new car. Ryan and Laurie have already got their AGI spec, national spec roll cages in order. So we're hoping to have those two cars on the grid for the start of next year, along with this one and potentially the other one I built. The one I got in Sydney, if it goes really good this weekend, we'll go and race Phillip Island with it. Pretty locked into racing Phillip Island in December anyway. Got my mind made up to go and do that. But then whether we go to keep the car over there or bring the car back home, there's a couple more people on the grid over here. Still not really determined yet. Yeah, that was a really cool lap, that one. So yeah, just keen to getting braking. Alright, in the shed, just run the RX8 around. Did 109s again. We jacked it back up a little bit, just to have a look-see. Craig's here helping again. He's running the FB around with the PP in it because he's a savage. Damo's just putting a new battery in it, so we got, thanks to S-Sport, we got a lithium battery to chuck in it and get rid of the big one. Hopefully it's charged, we'll find out in a minute. But yeah, car's really, really cool. Just cranking along. Easy night. It's a tuning night with regularity thrown in, so really, really cruisy. So happy days. We'll get back into it. So I had to put this clip in. This is later in the night. It's getting pretty wet, like it was, you know, full raining at this stage. This 86 that I was chasing around is about a good second and a bit slower than the RX8. It's not a full race car, but just had the randomest spin under brakes into turn 7. So I just had to put the footage up because it was just really, really random. I haven't seen a spin like that. I think he must have pinched just one brake, and just the way he turns the car around is quite random. Really safe because we've all got a bit of a gap. It's a tuning night, you know. But yeah, just a really, really random spin to see. So I think he's either got a wheel over on the dirt or just pinched a tyre and turned around. That was just bizarre. But yeah, like I said, the RX8's I think onto a really good thing. Keen to see a few more out there. Ric Shaw and the guys over east, Sam and that, are all really, really good to deal with. Easy to get along with, easy to get parts for, and yeah, just really, really enjoying them. Cheers. Massive shout out to Damo at DC Autos. I'm so grateful for all the work he does. Dead set, best mechanic I know. Chris and the guys at Shockworks for getting the package on the Skyline sorted. Frankie at Not Scared Fab for all the work, roll cage stuff. Steve at MSC Turbos New Zealand for getting that whole set sorted for the Skyline. The guys at Hyperdrive for keeping all the things ticking along. Shane at Behind the Sport for just keeping things really, really fun. Chris and the Culture 24/7 team just for getting me fit and enjoying life. And of course Lux Performance for all your good gear. Thank you to everyone who helps me out.